Nice job. There you go. Yeah, Flower Girl wasn't cooperating. I don't yeah, yeah. Nice. Perfect. Nice job, Lila. It's good. You may be seated. We have a beautiful couple here, but they're a tall couple, so I'm going to get some elevation. Friends, family, loved ones, on behalf of London and Nick, I'd like to thank you all for being here this afternoon, for taking the time and making the journey, and for all the effort that it requires, not only to be a part of this day, but to be a part of each other's lives. London and Nick have invited you here to this beautiful place to share with you trails, woodlands, peaks, and valleys, not unlike ones they've often explored together. The natural beauty of a place like this lends itself to many relevant metaphors. If we were all at our leisure to sit in this spot for the next 365 days, we'd experience 365 variations of this scene. More even, because every day sees 1,000 small changes. Over the course of a year, foliage brightens and falls, new buds grow, last year's leaves melt into the soil to fuel another season. Over the course of a day, squirrels battle, clouds shift, branches fall, whether we hear them or not. This, I believe, is a decent metaphor for marriage. There are many tired jokes about marriages growing stale over time, but how is that even possible if you're paying attention? Human beings are no more static than this amazing tree behind me, no more unchanging than the clouds. Committing to another human being means choosing this adventure, means immersing yourself in the endless variations of this particular beauty for the rest of your life. And what could be more thrilling than that? So, some of you may notice some familiar themes and advice in what I'm about to say, because 3 years ago I had the fortunate privilege to stand in front of you in a similar fashion at James and Katie's wedding. For those who don't know, that's London's cousin and his wife. I just want to say first off that I'm truly honored to be here today with my growing family to witness, celebrate, and usher in the next stage of yours. While the two of you are different in many ways from James and Katie, it's clear that the love you share is similarly true, similarly deep, and took a similarly long path to get to your wedding day. It's now been over 9 years since that first prom. So we come together not to mark the start of a relationship, but to recognize a resilient, time-tested bond. To find the beginning, we'd have to go back to March 30th, 2009. London's 17th birthday. She's a junior and Nick's a senior. It's senior munch, which I'm told is something like a school-sanctioned ditch day. But Nick decides to skip it and go to math class. So while everyone else is at Knott's Berry Farm, Nick finds himself in a room with no teacher and 8 students, including London. The students amuse themselves by playing cards and hanging out, but London feels a little down. Not only is she at school on her birthday, but everyone else is at Knott's Berry Farm, out having fun, and she's stuck in an educationally irrelevant purgatory. But when Nick finds out that it's London's birthday, he decides to turn things around. Let's go do something, he says. A statement that would become a theme in their relationship. Let's go do something. But they aren't taking off for Europe or Russia just yet. Those adventures come later. Instead, they start small by enlisting a security guard to drive them across campus and help procure them a pizza. On that day back in 2009, when Nick secured that fateful birthday pizza, I think he knew it was a good way to swoop in later and ask London to prom. Or was it really London's long con, since she liked Nick's 64 Valiant and loved the fact that he worked at Disneyland? Accounts vary. The truth may never be known. Over the years, of course, life evolved from pizza and Disneyland and cars. Nick discovered his passion for food and began pursuing a career as a chef, which, according to his parents, came as a bit of a surprise. Apparently, when he was younger, he wouldn't eat anything but corn dogs, pizza, and plain hamburgers with nothing on them. Now his spice rack has French tarragon, rubbed sage, and air-dried shallots, which I imagine make for some pretty amazing corn dogs. London received some inspiration from her Aunt Susie and became a school psychologist, while simultaneously discovering and nurturing her love for travel. Their separate nuclear families grew and changed, and the world around them grew and changed as well. And throughout the chaos of it all, through even a brief split, which I'll get to in a second, London and Nick were there for each other, bringing out what was best in each, allowing one another to grow, encouraging that growth, and consistently choosing the path that leads us to this moment. I think it's clear to all of us that London and Nick's love is full, multidimensional, and true. And perhaps that's a result of, or at least evidenced by, everything they've been through together. through high school and college, and now their joint navigation through the open waters of adulthood. At every stage, there have been trials, potential forks in the road, but every time they chose love. They chose each other. Except for that one time in 2013, when they briefly parted ways. But you two, as we've discussed, it's times like those that you'll ultimately point to as periods of essential growth, enabling you to become both unique individuals and invincible unit that stands here before us today. Those moments of struggle reveal and enforce the strength of your relationship. I won't say much more about that, other than the fact that, although the details are fuzzy, it appears we can all at least partially thank Chipotle for bringing them back together. This wedding brought to you by Chipotle. So see, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go show them the video after this, and maybe they'll chip in on the honeymoon fund. So here we are, June 29th, 2018, Nick and London in their mid-20s, so young but already with so much history behind them. As many of you are likely aware, I've known these two almost as long as I've known my wife, Jenny, who's London's cousin. I've loved getting to know them better more recently through our hikes, through our numerous dinners, and through that spontaneous New Year's gathering, which I hope becomes its own tradition. I consider them both not just in-laws, but friends. I'm sure I could just as easily receive advice from these two as try to impart it upon them, and in many ways, I can tell you I have. But there is this 8-year head start that Jenny and I have, particularly with marriage. So here comes the advice, whether you like it or not. So, London, as a psychologist, just remember that Nick may not always be up for analysis. And occasionally you should both get a turn on the proverbial couch. Also, I've heard Nick has to give you guidelines when he shares food with you to make sure that you don't eat the whole thing. So, I guess I'd say no need anymore. Smaller bites will suffice since you're now contractually entitled to eat all of his delicious creations for the rest of your life. And I think that advice may go both ways as well. Nick, I know you have a bit of a reputation as a prankster, and I think London's probably on board with that, but I'll just say, from experience, tread carefully. Sometimes, for example, April Fool's jokes don't quite land like you think they will. Oh, and London is always right. In all seriousness, marriage provides the opportunity to be a friend and a lover, a partner and an ally. At the core of every successful marriage are care and concern, giving and strength, a strength and intimacy that accepts the other exactly as he or she is. Even though you'll now be sharing one life, you must never forget that you're individuals, and that there can be only mutual respect so long as the individuality of each of you remains important to both. And although at times you'll disagree, remember to respect each other's feelings, needs, and wants. And always remember that every difficulty or disagreement you face will most certainly fade with time. When you told me about that no doubt dramatic Chipotle non-date, neither of you could really remember the precise details of when or how or who contacted whom. But if you try to remember how intense it must have felt at the time, tension of seeing one another, wondering what the other person was feeling, and reflect on how utterly unimportant all of it is now. Going forward, remember that every argument is nonsensically insignificant when pressed up against the monolith of your friendship, your love, and your commitment to one another. Always be challenging each other. Growth happens as a direct result of remaining curious about yourselves as individual, about each other, and about the world. That means paying attention, both to your partner's infinitely variable seasons and to your own shifting needs and interests. Don't be afraid of growing apart. Instead, encourage one another's growth and grow together. You're guardians of each other now, which means protecting each other from the world, but also inspiring the best in one another. In this partnership, you don't have to pretend to be anything other than what you are. You can express yourselves without fear of being judged or rejected. I know you guys already do this, and I have no doubt you always will. The idea of marriage is so entrenched in tradition, it can be easy to lose sight of why we have that tradition in the first place. The truth is, across cultures, marriage does mean different things. On a surface level, it's pretty much always a legally binding contract of some kind, but depending on a person's individual beliefs, a deeper meaning of marriage is mutable, personal. You two are here with all of us, your friends and family, to publicly celebrate this beautiful thing you have together, to formalize the commitment you've already been living for many years, to allow your friends and family to bear witness to your process of crossing this threshold hand in hand into a new era of your lives. And so we can all agree on a day to celebrate your anniversary. And probably a good call on making it during London summer breaks. Of course, each marriage is different. As I put some of these words together, I found myself imagining what the marriage between you two would actually look like. I envisioned a few things. Plenty of nature shows and movies, and occasionally movies that London stays awake for. A fair amount of London's hair in the vacuum cleaner. Michelin star meals, often in the comfort of your own home. 2 boys or 2 girls, or maybe 3, but at least 1 girl and maybe no boy. The details can be worked out later. The main point is that you're both amazing with children, and any kid is going to be lucky to have you two as parents. Naturally, I envision cats upon cats. Maybe a dog, if Nick can find you one like Jojo. I feel like London is coming around, Nick. She no longer responds purely in meows, so I think we're definitely making progress toward dogs. Of course, I envision plenty of travel to really cool places. Maybe some pranks, lots of laughter, and occasional mischief. Many have spoken much more eloquently than I on the subject of life and love, so as you embark on this journey together, this next piece of advice comes in the form of a poem by Constantine Cavafy, a Greek poet and journalist who spent most of his life in Egypt. It's called Ithaca. As you set out for Ithaca, hope your road is a long one, full of adventure, full of discovery. Lystragonians, Cyclops, angry Poseidon, don't be afraid of them. You'll never find such as these on your path, as long as you keep your thoughts raised high, as long as a rare excitement stirs your spirit and your body. Lystragonians, Cyclops, wild Poseidon, you won't encounter them unless you bring them along inside your soul, unless your soul sets them up in front of you. Hope your road is a long one. May there be many summer mornings when, with what pleasure, what joy, you enter harbors you're seeing for the first time. May you stop at Phoenician trading stations to buy fine things. Mother of pearl and coral, amber and ebony, sensual perfume of every kind, as many sensual perfumes as you can. And may you visit many Egyptian cities to learn and go on learning from their scholars. Keep Ithaca always on your mind. Arriving there is what you're destined for, but do not hurry the voyage at all. Better if it lasts for years, and to anchor at the island when you're old, rich with all you've gained on the way, not expecting Ithaca to make you rich. Ithaca gave you the marvelous journey. Without her, you wouldn't have set out. She has nothing left to give you now. And if you find her poor, Ithaca has not deceived you. Wise as you have become, so full of experience, you'll have understood by then what these Ithacas mean. It's very easy, I think, to run through a mental checklist of things we'd like to accomplish in our lives: career, marriage, children, property, the next property, retirement, with one eye always on the next goal. But the gift of these goals is not in their achievement. It's in cherishing each moment together. Talk about your goals by all means, align yourselves in the direction of the same trajectory, and then take one step at a time, together, knowing what these Ithacas mean. My final bit of advice for you is a bit more personal, but I think more practical as a guiding principle. Give more than you take. It's a little vague and seemingly could create an imbalance if, and indeed it could if commitment to the principle is unequal. But when both partners are committed to this, when both ask each other, what can I do for you, rather than what have you done for me, it anchors you at the center of your partner's universe and anchors your partner at the center of yours. It cements your team. And ultimately, it makes you each feel as though you're getting much more than you give. So with that, may you have many long years to delight in each other's company and to love and be loved by friends and family who've come here today to support you. May you make a home together that is at once sheltering and welcoming. May you each do meaningful, productive work at home and in the world, learning from your failures and growing in your accomplishments. May life's challenges be met together with courage and optimism. May your days be filled with laughter, imagination, trust, friendship, and love. And may you always find time to say to one another, let's go do something. So at this time, Nick and London would like us to join them in a moment of silence to remember all those who, while unable to be here with us today, are carried now and forever in their hearts. Marriage is a precious gift, a lifelong dedication to love. It is also a daily challenge to love one another more fully and more freely. Having considered all these things, Nick, do you choose London to be your lawfully wedded wife, to love her and comfort her, for better or worse, for richer, for poorer, in sickness and in health, from this day forward, as long as you both shall live?
I do.
With this understanding, do you, London, choose Nick to be your lawfully wedded husband, to love him and comfort him, for better, for worse, for richer, for poorer, in sickness and in health, from this day forward, as long as you both shall live?
I do.
Throughout times, countless millions of people from many cultures, religions, and societies have gathered among friends and family like this to celebrate their love for one another and their commitment to each other. Each culture has symbols and rituals to celebrate marriage, from the Chinese tea ceremony to the Jewish tradition of breaking a glass. A rich tapestry of traditions from around the world combine to symbolize the meaning of marriage. Today we'll try to remember that a wedding is a symbol, a heartfelt and meaningful symbol, but a symbol nonetheless. This ceremony is not magic. It'll not create a relationship that does not already exist and has not already been celebrated in all the commitments Nick and London have made to each other, both large and small, in the days since they first met. What we're celebrating today is not the beginning of a marriage, but a marriage already in progress. This ceremony is a symbol of how far they've come together and a symbol of the promises they'll continue to make to each other throughout their lives together. So, Nick and London have prepared their own vows and would like to share them at this time.
Nick, the last 9 years with you have been so formative. I love the ways you encourage me to be more myself and the ways we've grown together. You remind me to see the positive, to enjoy the simple things in life, and to relax. There are countless things I love about you. Your patience, your humor, and your ability to see things in the long term. I love the way you whistle around the house, stop yourself mid-sentence to point out when our cat is doing something cute, and make a point to rub my back or hold my hand whenever we're together. I'm excited to become your wife today and say these vows to you. I promise to notice all the kind gestures you do for me. I promise to always prioritize our family. I promise to try to take better care of your kitchen equipment. And most importantly, I promise to be an honest and faithful partner to you throughout all that comes our way. I love you.
Nick?
I remember when we first started dating 9 years ago, and I'm sure our families can attest to this, that we wanted to spend every available moment together. Our infatuation with each other led us on many adventures, from making a mess, making milkshakes, and long walks in the park, feeding swarms of ducks, to sunset picnics on the beach. And as we checked off relationship milestones, that infatuation quickly transformed into a love filled with passion and respect. And we knew we were made for each other. You're everything I could ever wanted in a partner. You're intelligent. You're unbelievably gorgeous. You have a kind heart, and you inspire me to be the best that I can be. You mean the world to me, and I promise to respect you as a person, a partner, and an equal. I promise to love you unconditionally, to honor and cherish you. I promise to treasure the experience of growing old with you. I will never stop trying to make you smile or laugh. I promise to always enjoy the little things with you and to surprise you with spontaneous back massages. I vow to have the patience that love demands. With my whole heart, without a shred of doubt or fear, I proudly take you as my wife, because you are, and you always will be, my best friend, the love of my life, and my soulmate.
Okay, take each other's hands, please. Friends and family, if you're here with a partner, please take their hand as well. To reach out to someone and be acknowledged and loved is a human need. Taking the hand of one who loves you is a powerful symbol of that unspoken bond. Please take a good look at your partner's hands so you may see the gift that they are to you. These are the hands of your best friend that are holding yours on your wedding day. These are the hands that will work alongside yours as together you build your future. These are the hands that when wrinkled and aged will still be reaching for yours. This is the point in the ceremony when people usually talk about wedding bands being a perfect circle, having no beginning and no end. But we all know that rings have a beginning. Rock is dug up from the earth. Metals are liquefied in a furnace at 1,000 degrees. Hot metal is forged, cooled, and then painstakingly polished. Something beautiful is made from raw elements. Love is like that. It comes from humble beginnings, a pizza, a birthday, a date, a kiss, and is made by imperfect beings. It's the process of making something beautiful where there was once nothing at all. Rings are therefore adornments quietly reminding us of the power of love and the pledge to be faithful and true. Just as a ring has no point of weakness, may your union be strong. May you take joy in your journey through life together, surrounded by the circle of your love. Rings, please. I'll trade you. Thank you, sir. Okay, Nick, go ahead. Take your London's ring. Okay, and Nick, please repeat after me. London, with this ring,
London, with this ring,
I make my commitment to you
I make my commitment to you
to be your husband and friend,
to be your husband and friend,
partner and companion.
partner and companion.
Go for it. Okay, London, there you go. London, please repeat after me. Nick, with this ring,
Nick, with this ring,
I make my commitment to
I
you
make my commitment to you
to be your wife and friend,
to be your wife and friend,
partner and companion.
partner and companion.
All right, there you go. Thank you. All right, to everyone in attendance, Nick and London have requested your presence today because they consider you a part of their family. Even if you're not related by blood, Nick and London see friends as chosen family, and they want to acknowledge the importance of those lasting friendships. So to the members of this new joint family, although London and Nick will now be forming a family of their own, they'll never outgrow the need for your loving support. Therefore, I now ask you, do you offer your support for their marriage? If so, please say, we do. We do. Nick and London, in the years ahead, may the sun continue to shine upon you. May the love you have for one another grow and hold you close. May you find the inner strength to guide you when the difficult times come. And may you live long and happy, fulfilling all that you are. No one but you can declare yourselves married. You've begun it here today in speaking your vows before family and friends, and will do it again in the days and years to come, standing by each other through all the peaks and valleys of life. Now that Nick and London have promised each other their love with the joining of hands and the giving and receiving of rings, by virtue of the authority vested in me as Deputy Commissioner of Marriage for the County of Orange, I now pronounce them united as husband and wife under the laws of the state of California. You may kiss the bride. Family and friends, it's my privilege to present to you for the first time as husband and wife, Mr. and Mrs. Nicholas and London Carter. Go for it. Blow bubbles.